Yes, good morning. Sava here from Football Heritage TV. I hope that everybody is well. Or good afternoon or good evening. How very rude of me for missing out everybody else all across the world. Tottenham Hotspur, it's a funny old fan base, isn't it? Tottenham, it's a funny old fan base. I did a show yesterday talking about facts, put loads of facts down, and oh my gosh, it got a few people a little bit angry. Comments coming into me very angry. You've manipulated the stats. Yeah, I manipulated 9 months worth of football stats. Yeah, that's what I do. People have made videos about it. Getting the facts wrong in their video, by the way, getting their facts wrong in the video. Apparently it was three goals. Three clean sheets in 13 when I clearly showed it was 3 and 30. Talking about the four wins in 12, saying, oh, that's the same as Villa or Liverpool. I didn't talk about Villa. I didn't talk about Liverpool. The whole point wasn't that we'd only won 4. It was who those 4 were against. So, look, I found that quite funny. The facts really rattle people. They really rattle people. I've seen it. The sky is falling. I've never said the sky is falling. I think any of you that watch me regularly know. I just don't think we're getting better. And there's a huge difference between me going, oh, my God, Spurs, you are rubbish. Spurs are rubbish. We're getting relegated. Yada, yada. No, never said that. I said Spurs, the way we always operate between a 5th and an 8th place team. If we want to do better than that, you've got to do better. And unfortunately, the facts I showed yesterday are why we are not better. And the players we brought in this window are why we are not better. It's funny, though, as well. When I see these videos, it's funny. When my facts fit in with their narrative, they agree. When my facts don't fit in with their narrative, they disagree. Oh, yeah, they were right about Werner. All right. Oh, but they were wrong about this. Well, they're all facts. They're all facts. Guys, girls, today, what I want to talk about. Sorry, I find it truly funny how many people can't see what is under their nose. And then that gets misconstrued as negative. That gets misconstrued as me manipulating stats. And just for the record, because a couple of Australians, if we're going to be brutally honest, 3 or 4 Australians last night wouldn't let it go in my YouTube comments. Look, as I said, the reason why I didn't include the first 10 games of last season is because I believe that the first 10 last season was an outlier. I believe that this was a new manager bounce. The same way when another team does well, everyone quickly goes, oh, they're not that good. It's a manager bounce. When it was Postecoglou and Spurs, it's, oh my God, we're winning the title. I'm not knee-jerk like that. I'm genuine, right? I'm genuine about it. I never thought we were winning the title. I never thought... People say, oh, you thought we were getting relegated. No, I didn't think we were getting relegated. We're too good to get relegated. We're too good for 10th, 11th. We are 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place team for me. And that's where we operate in. That's the transfer market we are operating in. Look at our last 4 years of league finishes. It bounces between 8th and 5th and 8th and 4th and 8th. And that's where we operate in. That's the space we operate in. Unfortunately, if you don't like the facts, that's fine. But don't try and lie about the facts that I made, right? The sky is falling. Never said that at all. I've supported this club for too many years to be that dramatic about it. It really makes me laugh. It's the same fans that you can't say so-and-so had a bad game. So, for example, if you say, and he did, Romero had a bad game. Oh, my God, Cootie. He had a bad game. It's okay to say defensively he was caught out time and time again by Vardy. It's all right. That doesn't make him a bad footballer. It just means he had a bad game. Son, doesn't matter what you say about him. Oh, he's our best player. Sure, but you're allowed to say if a player has a bad game. Otherwise, it becomes a democracy. Otherwise, it becomes the point where you're going, well, you can't say that. That's this player. Arsenal fans will say, oh, Odegaard was terrible today. Doesn't make him a bad player. Or Saliba didn't have his best game today. Doesn't make him a bad player. By the way, all of these people, Van der Ven, Romero, Udogie, Porro walk into Arsenal's team. I just saw, 2 of them get into the PFA team of the year. I didn't see any of Spurs's. Guys, girls, I want to talk about this Everton game. And the title of this video is Spurs. The Spurs game against Everton just became massive. And I don't think that's clickbait. I don't even think that's an overreaction. I think that the Leicester game was almost the given. And I don't mean that any game should just go, 3 points. But the Leicester game was almost, you've got to get 3 points to set you up to then go and beat Everton, because after Everton, you've got the difficult run of fixtures. And we're going to come to those in a minute. Now we've drawn that. I've seen a lot of people saying this, by the way. I think it puts a lot of pressure on Tottenham this weekend in what shouldn't have been a real pressurised game. And the reason for that is, by the way, no season is after one game done. No season after 2 games is done. But it's about momentum, isn't it? And again, when we look at the fixtures that are coming up after the Everton game, you have to look at fixtures and go, right, this is where we're going to get the bulk of our points. And all clubs do this. All managers will do this. If you ever go into a manager's office, you see it in their videos and that. They've got all the fixtures written up. They've got next to them, they've got what they think it should be. But this is what clubs do, and we're fans. We're no different. So, look, I don't think it's hyperbolic. I think this is a really, really important game for Tottenham. By the way, let me caveat this right now. I think we will win this game. I think Everton will score. I do. I don't think we're capable of clean sheets at the moment. If we do keep a clean sheet, great. But I just don't think we're capable of it. Three clean sheets in 3-0, just in case anyone wants to get that fact wrong again, tells me that teams know how to score goals against us. And Everton are aerially very good. Now, that's the praise I will give them. That. Other than that, this should be a game that we get there, professional performance, get the points and run. Should be. They've just been beaten 3-0 by Brighton Hove Albion. All right, and Brighton are a good team. But I would like to think that we can match what Brighton do. Doesn't have to be 3-0, it can be 2-0, one that I'm not going to predict a score this week. I just think we need to get the 3 points. And here's why. First of all, it's Everton at home. Everton are one of the favourites to finish in the bottom 4 this season for a reason. So are Leicester. So you look at those 2 games and you say, this had to have been 6 points, 4 points minimum. And why do I say that? Because let's just, devil's advocate. By the way, I've got to caveat this because people don't listen. I think we're going to win. But devil's advocate, let me sit on the fence. If we don't win this game, let's say we draw with 2 points from 6. Now, that in itself, after 2 games, isn't dreadful. It's not good, but it's not dreadful. But here, this is where we've got. So you've got Leicester that we've played. You've got Everton that we're playing this Saturday. Then after that, you've got Newcastle United away. Now, Newcastle, you could say a couple of injuries, but Newcastle had a million injuries last year and battered us. We battered them at our ground, but they battered us at their ground. Newcastle have lost 1 home game in 10. Okay? Newcastle are very good at home. And what they've got is that pace on the counter-attack. The likes of Isak, the likes of Gordon, they will punish us. This is going to be a very tough game. I'll tell you now, I will take a draw. I will take a draw at Newcastle. But the problem you've got is, again, this is all based off if we didn't beat Everton. Suddenly, if you get a draw there or a defeat to Newcastle, suddenly it's no wins in 3. Could be the other way. We could win the next 2, and suddenly it's 7 points from 9, and it's a great start. So again, it's always ifs, buts, and maybes. I'm just trying to share the importance of why the Everton game has got the magnitude it has now when it didn't really need to have, because we should have beat Leicester City. Then we go down after Newcastle United. And by the way, Newcastle, St. James's Park's a really tough place to go, even when they're not in their best. Not many teams go to St. James's Park and win. Newcastle looking at, they've tried to get Guehi. It's not quite worked out. They're now looking at Tapsoba, apparently, as well as Disasi of Chelsea. Tapsoba, of course, a player that we were linked with very, very heavily all of last window. Didn't manage to get him. They might get him, they might not. Looks like they need to after the Fabian Schär red card and the injury to Botman. But again, we said this about, it weakens their defence, right? But we said this about Leicester. Before the game, people were going, oh, Justin, Christensen, Vestergaard, Fayez. And we didn't really lay a glove on them. I mean, we had half chances. They cleared one off the line, but I thought Wout Faes and Vestergaard were excellent against us. So you've got Leicester City, Everton and Newcastle, and you would think, right, that from that, I said at the beginning of the season, I thought we were going to get 7 points from this. I said we were going to get 7 points from this. We still can, but now I had it as Leicester and Everton wins and Newcastle was a draw. Now I'm looking at it. This is really, really edge of the knife stuff, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Then when we go down to September, Arsenal at home. Listen, it's a North London derby is what is always thrown at this game. You never know what's going to happen. The problem is lately, we do know what's going to happen. The problem is lately, they are superior to us. Whether we want to admit it or not, Arsenal are very, very strong. Arsenal have worked out, like many teams, what the best way to get the Spurs is, and they executed that well last season. Look, I'd bite your hand off for a draw with Arsenal. And again, I would bite your hand off, even though it's at home, for a draw. I just don't think we defend well enough as a club. I don't think Ange has concentrated on it at all. You can see from pre-season, you can see from back in the last season, Ange doesn't seem to care about the defensive part of the game. And again, I see lots of fans and YouTubers saying, oh, I don't care as long as we score more than them. But again, I'm a 41-year-old adult. I don't go with that childish opinion that let's just outscore them. No, top managers concentrate on the midfield and the defence, not just going forward. And it's all well and good saying we're going to outscore teams, but maybe if you want to outscore teams, you go and buy proper top players. Spurs didn't. Spurs front line at the moment is a guy from Nottingham Forest who's very poor in Brennan Johnson. Solanke, who's had one good year from Bournemouth, and Son, who is not what he was. He's a good player, but those explosive moments, those impacts in games are getting less and less and less. And now he's not through the middle to score the goals. He's got to find a different way of playing on the left. And again, Everton will put men behind the ball, and it's about what can we do to open up that block that they're going to put there, that barrier between us and their goal. Then we play Brentford at home. I've got no excuses for this one. This one should be 3 points. Brentford, I'm not doing them a disjustice. I think they're a very good, compact team. I think pound for pound, Thomas Frank's one of the best managers in the league. Now, hear me out before people don't listen to that sentence. Pound for pound, in terms of what he spends, the squad he's got, how small the club is, I think he does a superb job every year. And I don't think this year he'll keep them up again. But when you look at them, it's a very thin squad. They don't spend loads of money, but we should be beating them at Spurs. I'm not knocking them. I just think we're better and we should be beating them. Let me know what you think about the Brentford game. Then after that, we've got a Europa League game. And the interesting thing for me is after the Europa League game, it's Man United away, right? So it looks like the Europa League game will probably be on Thursday, September the 26th. That will mean the Man United game moves to Sunday the 29th. So we're going to be playing in Europe, then have 2 days, and then back at it on the third day away at United. Another team that have lost 1 in 10 at home. Another team that somehow find a way. Again, this won't be easy because I can bet you any money you like, Ten Hag will put Rashford, Garnacho, all the pace will be on that pitch that day and they will counter-attack us. That's what I think will happen. And I'm seeing a pattern of teams doing this to us. This isn't really an outrageous prediction, is it? So some tough fixtures there. Man U away, Arsenal at home, Newcastle away, Brentford at home and Everton at home. For me, they've got to be the bankers. They've got to be the bankers. Then if we scroll down past that, even if we look into October and November, we've got some really, really tough games there. Again, another Europa League game, followed by Brighton away. And Brighton, bit of an unknown quantity at the moment. Started the season brilliantly with a 3-0 win against Everton. New manager, new style, new tactics. I think they've made some decent signings for them. They've made some really decent signings for them. But again, won't be an easy place to go, Brighton. So again, another tough fixture immediately there, followed by West Ham at home. Now, West Ham at home, West Ham treat us like a cup final. I hate that saying, but in this occasion, it's actually true, isn't it? West Ham do treat it like a cup final. Again, I would like to think that we're beating West Ham at home. I would like to think that we've got enough. But again, what I can see Lopetegui doing is, again, Somerville, Bowen, and Kudus on the counter-attack. I can see, in my mind, I can see them now, us having a lot of the ball and then breaking. And I worry about this against everybody. Fatawu, Vardy, these people did it to us the other day. Mavadidi, these people broke on us. I don't quite know if Everton have got the pace for that to happen for them, but these other teams have, and that's my concern with this style of football. And you all know I don't like this style. It's not, by the way, people go, oh, it's like City. It's not like City. I don't like this style where nothing is concentrated at the back. I don't like it that it's chaos. I don't like it that it seems like we're overplaying in midfield for no reason. Lots of people keep going, well, we had 80% possession, 70% possession. That's great. But that doesn't mean you're a really, really attacking team. Then after that, Crystal Palace away. Again, sandwiched after the West Ham game is going to be another Europa League game, followed 3 days later by another away game to Crystal Palace, followed 3 days later by a Carabao Cup game. So, and then Villa at home. You know, we've got Ipswich at home, which should be a banker. Villa at home is going to be very tough. Man City away, I've got no hope for winning anything there. And then Fulham at home, got to be winning those games. Look, I could go all through the season, but it would be pretty pointless. The upshot of all of this is there's a lot of difficult games there, but sandwiched in between those difficult games are games where you have to say, we've got to win that. Leicester was one of them and we failed. Everton is another one. We've got to, no excuses. We've got to beat Everton. Ipswich at home, got to beat them. Fulham at home, got to beat them. Brentford at home, got to beat them. Because our style of play is going to see a lot of away games where we are overrun because we don't defend properly. We've got defenders that have been, whether they're told to or not, that are more worried about attacking. We've got defenders that are more worried about bringing the ball out than actually defending. Now, I'm not knocking our defenders because that could be the manager's instructions, and it looks like it is. And again, a lot of talk about this back four, about how great a doggy is and Porro is and Van der Ven and Romero. I would love to see these guys playing a back four with a manager, a proper manager, a top manager that doesn't play kamikaze football. For me, it's only my opinion. By the way, I'm not telling any of you whether you like Ange Postecoglou's style or not. I'm not. I don't care. I'm not that bothered. If you like his style, you like his style. Yeah? I don't like his style for my reasons. You might like his style for your reasons, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah? But if we continue to play this way, this back four is going to get exposed because Porro is not a right back. Let's be brutally honest. Porro is a fantastic footballer, but he's not a right back. Udogie, I don't think he's fantastic. He's still young. He's got years to grow. But again, he wants to go this way, not this way. And we saw at the weekend, he got rinsed. Fatawu absolutely took Udogie to the cleaners. He put on a masterclass of how to beat your man every time, especially in that second half. So, look, that's what I would love to see, that as a back four, because I think if this was playing as a back four in a more traditional setup, I think we'd see that Porro and Udogie aren't fullbacks. And I think that's the difficult part. We've got some fans that are saying, right, Van der Ven has to go left back, Dragushin has to come in centre half and then push that to a free. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but we know Ange isn't going to do that. So I won't harp on about that. The last thing I would say on that is Van der Ven at left back would actually allow for when we attack to make that back two a free. But Ange doesn't want to do that. He wants to overload in those spaces and everyone kind of gets in everyone else's way. Look, it's going to be, and let's round it off with this for a few minutes. The reason why I talk about all that is not, oh my God, we're going to lose every game. Of course we're not. Of course we're not. I've never said that. I never say that. The reason why I mention all that is last year, We had 8 wins and 2 draws from the first 10 games, and it set us up. It was a magnificent start. No one can take that away from the players and Ange. No one can. It then very quickly unravelled. I think teams started to work us out. Yeah, you could say injuries, but everyone had injuries. Loads of teams had worse injuries than us. And even when those players came back, it unravelled. We didn't ever hit any sort of form anywhere near that. And the form kind of went like that as the season went on. And the reason I mention that is it's not to have a dig at Postecoglou, it's not to have a dig at the players. That opening 10 games, so what's that? 8 wins, what's that? 24 points, 26 points from 30, right? The 26 points from 30 set us up. This year, if we don't have a good start, and I'm not suggesting 26 from 30 at all, but this year, if we don't get a decent points tally after the first 10 games, it's going to be a lot more difficult unless this club finds some consistency going through from game 10 through to game 38. And that's where a lot of people, again, people making videos about my facts, saying, oh, the form doesn't matter. But of course, form matters. Form is a guide of what you've done. And our form in the last 9 months has been poor. So how do we get it better? At the moment, I've not seen anything that suggests it's going to get better. But these next 5 or 6 games will tell us. If we get to 6 games in and we've won 1, drawn 2, lost 3, the pressure is going to be on. Whether people like it or not, that is what Daniel Levy does. The pressure will be on. We will be so far behind everybody else. However, let's look at the positive side. We'll flip the coin. We could win 3, draw 2 and lose 1. And all of a sudden, we're not a million miles away from everyone else. So look, that's why I think this Everton game is massive. Winning that Everton game, you've got a nice little base, 4 points. Should have been 6, but 4 is acceptable. Draw or lose that game, and straight away you look at 2 games that Spurs should have won, and then you got difficult games afterwards. So I'm going to ask you right now, let me know what you think. Already, most of us have got it wrong. Already. I put a post out last week and said, right, here's my first 6 games. What do you think? And I had us down, if I'm not wrong, I had us down for 10 points after 6 games. I had us down for 3 wins, a draw and 2 defeats. That's what I had us down for. I had us down for 10 points. Already, one of the wins I had, though, was Leicester. So already I was wrong on that. I think most of the world were wrong on that. Some of you didn't. Some of you, hands up, said we won't beat Leicester or we'll draw to Leicester. So let me know now, after the Leicester game, what do you see for Spurs after the first 10 games? And if we look at this again, if we look at our first 10 games, this is the 10 games I want you to predict on. Okay? So we'll have a look here. The first 10 games is Leicester, Everton, Newcastle. There's 3. Arsenal's 4. Brentford is 5. United is 6. Brighton is 7. West Ham is 8. Palace is 9. And Villa is 10. Let me know how many points. I'm going to go on a limb. I haven't worked this out team for team. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think after those 10 games, I reckon we have 14 or 15 points. And I reckon we'll then be 11 points down on last season. Let me know what you guys think. Look, the transfer window, by the way, is still open. I don't know if we all remember this. For me, Spurs still need to do a lot. For me, I don't think we've done anywhere near what we needed to do. I think everyone knows. I think this has been a really shambolic window. I think that we've brought in Solanke. He's the big hope. He's okay. I don't think he's special. If Solanke is the best player you are bringing in a transfer window, I think that tells you everything you need to know about where your club is. Solanke will score goals, I've got no doubt, but put him against the other top strikers in this league. Anyway, it's not a dig on Solanke. The point is he's the best we've bought. What does that say about the rest of the window? Take care, guys. Let me know your thoughts. First 10 games, how many points are we going to have? Please like, please subscribe, and I'm sure I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs and other YouTubers. If you want to debate me, just pick up the phone or message me. My email address is in my bio. It really is that simple. Or bitch behind my back Don't use my name and make videos about me. Up to you. See you later, people. Bye-bye.